Hello everyone and welcome to my channel YNR Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sharon faints after discovering the shady past of Nick and Sienna. The Restless and the Young spoilers reveal a startling wave of emotional turmoil in Genoa City, as Sharon Rosales discovers a long-kept secret involving Nick Newman and Sienna, an enigmatic woman whose presence in the city has already sparked rumors, curiosity, and anxiety. Residents of Genoa City have been taking notice of Sienna for weeks due to her mysterious personality, cunning connections, and oddly close relationship with some of the Newman family members. At first, Sharon dismissed the tension surrounding Sienna, thinking she was just another new character squeezing into the drama that frequently permeates the Newman orbit. However, everything changes when Sharon is confronted with information that not only discloses Nick and Sienna's unsettling former relationship, but also reveals a history that is more sinister, dishonest, and emotionally damaging than she could have ever dreamed. Sharon is already under a lot of stress because of Faith's health, her therapy work, and her precarious balance between co-parenting and friendship with Nick, so the discovery comes at the worst possible time, leaving her emotionally vulnerable and unprepared. When Sharon initially hears rumors that Nick knew Sienna before she came to town, she brushes them off as rumors and hyperbole. Nick's romantic history is lengthy, his emotional background is complex, and he has an insatiable fondness for women who seem broken or in need of rescuing. However, the reality is more worse than Sharon had ever imagined. In addition to their previous romantic relationship, Nick and Sienna had a risky, reckless affair when Nick was going through a difficult emotional period and struggling to deal with heartbreak, resentment, and the immense burden of being a Newman. This was no ordinary romance. It was compulsive, poisonous, covert, something Nick purposefully buried in the hopes that no one would ever figure it out. Even Sharon, who has known Nick for decades, is unaware of some of the things Sienna knows about him. Sienna is aware of the weaker, angrier, and more guilty Nick, the one who was fleeing his identity, his family allegiance, and even himself. She is now taking advantage of that information. After overhearing a difficult and intimate conversation between Nick and Sienna at Crimson Lights, a talk so emotionally charged that no casual acquaintance should ever have with Nick, Sharon starts to piece things together. Sienna's will to uncover the truth is only strengthened by Nick's desperate attempts to keep her away from Sharon. And Sharon's body responds before her mind can process the information she finds, the tangible evidence, the messages, the confession in Nick's remorseful voice. Her eyesight becomes blurry, her heart beats faster, and everything inside her suddenly falls apart. Everything comes together, the shock, the treachery, the anguish that has been resurfaced after decades of Newman-entangled pain, until Sharon passes out on the ground and faints while Nick cries her name in fear. In that moment, Nick realizes that the secret he thought he could escape has not only returned, but it has also destroyed the one connection he believed could endure anything. He rushes to her side and begs her to open her eyes. The environment feels heavier, colder, and more cruelly real when Sharon wakes up. Her initial impression is of Nick's terrified and regretful visage hanging over her. However, Sharon's face is unreadable, hurt, and aloof. Why? Is the only inquiry she poses to him. Goes beyond the affair. At a time when they were depending on one another for stability and trust, Nick concealed something so important and emotionally tied to their shared past. Sharon feels deceived, embarrassed, and caught off guard. She thought they had moved past the version of themselves that harbored sinister secrets and made the same mistakes over and over again, not because she thought Nick would have been flawless. Meanwhile, Sienna watches from the sidelines, feeling nearly victorious, because Sharon's revelation was no coincidence. This is what Sienna wants. Because Sharon is the embodiment of everything Sienna dislikes. The woman Nick has consistently resorted to, both romantically and emotionally. She wanted Sharon to crumble under the emotional strain. Sienna desires authority. She desires to corner Nick. Destabilizing the Newman family is what she wants. And the first step was to drive Sharon to emotional breakdown. Now that the secret has been revealed, Genoa City will experience devastating repercussions. Victor is going to be upset because Nick let his guard down in a way that exposes the entire Newman family to assault, in addition to the fact that Sienna deceived one of his sons. In addition to the controversy, Nicky will be concerned about the emotional toll it will take on Sharon, who has always been closely linked to the stability of the family. When Faith and Noah find out what occurred, they will be devastated. And Adam, who has been surreptitiously watching Sienna with suspicion from the start, will eventually find a way to expose her. However, it is unclear if he does so to help himself or to shield Sharon. Now Sharon has to choose between redefining their relationship as a whole, moving away from Nick, or forgiving him. She is worn out, bruised, and her heart is ripped. She adores Nick. She has always done so. However, this treachery is like a knife piercing an already scarred area. Sienna, who is observing from the shadows, is aware that this is just the start. She has more secrets, more power. We have more harm to unleash. One terrifying concern resurfaces as Sharon tries to regain her emotional equilibrium. If this was the first secret, what else is Sienna concealing about Nick? And why has she come back at this particular moment? The scene is prepared. The emotional tempest has not yet subsided. Additionally, a triangle involving Sharon, Nick, and Sienna will change all of the Newman relationships in Genoa City. The Restless and the Young the next 2 weeks. Audra's nightmare, Claire falling for Holden, and Noah's accident mystery. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the upcoming 2 weeks, October 13th to 24th, indicate that Claire Newman falls in love with Holden Novak in Los Angeles, Audra Charles has her worst nightmare, and Noah Newman's automobile accident will be the subject of a significant mystery. Nick and Sharon Newman will be devastated to hear that their son Noah was involved in an automobile accident during the week of October 13th to 17th. As Schick fears that their kid will suffer the same fate as their daughter, Cassie Newman, Noah will be fighting for his life in the coming days. However, this scenario appears to be far more complex than it first appears. In the Thursday, October 16th episode, General Hospital alumnus Matt Cohen makes his television debut, introducing Sharon and Nick to Detective Burrows. Regarding Noah's time in Los Angeles when he tried to start another club, it appears that a significant secret will be revealed. Fans should prepare for some significant discoveries because Sharon had mentioned that Noah was acting suspiciously in the weeks before Schick's visit. Speaking of LA antics, on Tuesday, October 14th, soap veteran Tamara Braun will make her television debut as Sienna Bacall, the proprietor of a Hollywood club. During their trip to Los Angeles, Sienna will encounter Holden while he is courting Claire. It will be intriguing to watch the story of this new character develop, because it appears that Sienna has a link to Holden, and that she also knows Audra. In the meanwhile, spoilers for the week of October 13th to 17th on The Young and The Restless suggest that Kyle Abbott will do something shady. He will approach Victoria Newman for Claire's address in Los Angeles early in the week, but the mother will not provide it to him. Kyle seems to be going to find it in another way, and his plan to save his relationship with Claire will still be on course. Will it, however, be successful? When Kyle interrupts Claire's party vacation in LA this week, it sounds like she will be both astonished and upset. Will Tessa Porter's trip to Boston to see Mariah Copeland prove to be a wise decision in the end? If Mariah finds out that Tessa and Daniel Romalotti went looking for further details about her night with Will Hensley, she might decide not to meet Tessa or become very furious. Nick will search for information on Noah's vehicle accident and the problems that preceded it during the week of October 20th to 24th. It appears like Noah will continue to fight for his life in that hospital in Los Angeles, while Nick will be dealing with inquiries about the crash. Will they collaborate, and what role will Detective Burrows play? To discover out, fans will need to tune in. Returning to Claire, she will probably lash out at Kyle for not honoring her desires and allowing her space after he interrupts her pleasure in LA. She will also be dissatisfied that he didn't trust her more and felt the need to snoop on her. Before leaving for LA, Claire kept the possibility of a reunion open, but it will be closed the week of October 17th to 24th. However, what about Holden? Thanks to their enjoyable time in Los Angeles, Claire will be completely enamored with her new friend. She might push the button to enter a more romantic realm and leave the friend zone. When Audra's past influences her future, her entire world will finally collapse. Could Victoria and Nate Hastings cement their own reunion as they grow closer in the coming weeks? Given Claire and Holden's reunion and her ex-boyfriend's canoodling with his ex, Audra might be tormented by her inability to maintain a relationship. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, Audra is solely responsible for her current situation, but she is unlikely to believe that. For the most recent Young and the Restless news, spoilers, and updates, check out CDL often. Will Daddy Dearest be dishonest to make sure Sally is never included in a Newman family portrait once Adam tells Victor the truth? Jack asks Christine for a favor. However, what can she do to assist Diane? We understand. How about comparing Phyllis's dental records to her purported remains? The complex scheme Phyllis devised to exact revenge on Diane backfires in what may be the least unexpected turn of events in history. Meet the adorable people who have captured Mariah and Tessa's hearts, as well as ours. In actuality, Nikki runs across someone from her past who has long hoped to be with her in the future. This is the kind of stuff that inevitably occurs while attempting to solve the murder of a living person. Chance's inquiry takes an unexpected path. Maybe he sees the deceased or something. After yesterday's episode, we are left wondering if Phyllis actually killed Jeremy Stark. What we know is as follows. Michael will be split in two when confronted with a moral conundrum. Which will he follow, his heart or his head? Not only may Diane's fate be at stake, but so could Phyllis's. Here's why Young and Restless actions with Mariah and Tessa are certain to backfire. When Victor, who, as you may remember, always prevails at all costs, forces Tucker's hand, the fight of the Titans takes center stage. Sharon asks Abby for assistance. However, shouldn't Ray's widow be able to secure a seat at society by herself? We suspect Elena won't be aware of her relationship with a cheater just yet. She does, however, grow impatient with Nate. I am eagerly awaiting the release of that other shoe. According to the first look at Calls the Heart Season 10, there will be beautiful moments and exciting twists and turns. It's time for Victor to criticize Nick's judgment once more while putting Sally down. Perhaps this will be the moment when Nick reverses the trend and challenges Daddy's wisdom. Shouldn't he have realized by now that interfering in his children's affairs is futile? Devin doesn't back down. But is it a losing struggle for him? In Friday's recap, Sharon throws Mariah and Tessa a surprise baby shower, Jack loses it, and Kyle and Billy argue. We made the call long ago. Between Daniel and Lily, sparks fly. Hopefully, the ex-partners have learned from their mistakes. As Michael makes his case to Christine, it appears that Diane is finally supported by someone other than Jack. As the new mothers are honored, it's time to take out the enormous Mariah and Tessa sign from the engagement celebration. Instead of setting out on his own and making his own way, Billy fights with Kyle for dominance and runs the risk of making another mistake that will go down in our list of his greatest mistakes ever.